أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope all of you are doing great. Today inshallah we are going to begin the last lesson of our first section, and this is about the pronouns. Now in this lesson inshallah we are going to cover the rafa pronouns. Now as I say this would automatically mean that there's going to be nasab and jar variety of pronouns as well. So yes, there is, and we are going to cover that variety of the pronouns in the next lesson inshallah. Today we are going to cover rafa pronouns. So before beginning our lesson, of course, we're going to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this task easy for us to understand as well as to teach. So Rabbi Yasir, wala tu'assir, wa tammim bil khair, Amin ya Rabbal Alameen. Alright, now pronouns. What are pronouns? We already know that they are used in place of an ism to avoid repetition. Uh, let's go through this little example. Zed came, Zed had Zed's lunch, and then Zed went to the library where Zed studied for Zed's upcoming presentation. A lot of Zed, 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 Zed. Too much of repetition. Alright, this is where pronouns come into play. We simply replace the overly repetitive words or ism rather, and that's how we can proceed without any repetition. So what do we do if we just correct this entire in this entire paragraph or the sentence rather? What can we do? We can say Zed came, he had his lunch. Well, actually, we don't even need to say he over here because it is implied, it is obvious. Okay, so Zed came, had his lunch, and then went to the library where he studied for Zed's or for his upcoming presentation. All right. Now, what did I do here? Over here, I replaced this, this, and this with appropriate pronouns, with appropriate masculine pronouns. I used words such as him, his, and he. All right. Now, all three of these are masculine pronouns, but none of these are interchangeable, which means that I cannot use him in place of his or he, and vice versa, and so on and so forth. All right. So let's just give you an example of what I mean here. If I say Zed came, had him lunch, and then his went to the library where him studied for his or he upcoming presentation. Doesn't make any sense. Totally wrong and senseless. All right. So this is what I mean when I say that these pronouns are not interchangeable. All right. And this is important to know because, of course, when we cannot use these pronouns interchangeably in English, of course, the same concept applies in Arabic. All right. That's why I say that rafa pronouns and then nasab and jar pronouns. All right. So now we can see that there are three types of pronouns: the ones that substitute a file, all right, and there are pronouns that substitute a maf'ul, and there are pronouns that substitute a possessor. Okay, now this word he is it is a pronoun that substitutes a file, all right. Him is the pronoun that substitutes a maf'ul, and his is a pronoun that substitutes a possessor. Of course, all of these are the masculine examples. There are others for feminine and inanimate objects, all right. And of course, none of these are interchangeable. Okay, so that's how we can classify the pronouns, the ones that substitute a file, maf'ul, or a possessor. And the same thing applies in Arabic. Okay, now we have the rafa pronouns, nasab pronouns, and the jar pronouns. In English, we have separate words for each of these. Okay, so we have he, she, it, they. Now what you can do is you can make simple sentences to just get the concept and get across with it. So he helped, she helped, it broke. All right. um they read, you helped, I helped, we helped. All right, so all of these are fa'il. Okay, therefore rafa. Now all the rafa pronouns are unattached. Okay, and they are followed by an auxiliary verb or the helping verb, which includes is, are, am, was, etc. All right, we are going to cover these 2 points at length in the later in this chapter, inshallah. Next, we have the nasab and jar pronouns. Now, we have different words for these two types of pronouns in English, but in Arabic we have the same words for both of these. Okay, so in English we have him and his, but in Arabic we have the same pronoun for both of these. How are we going to distinguish between them? This is something that we're going to learn in the next lesson, inshallah. Okay, in the next session, in the section B. All right, so that's how. Now we have the nasab pronouns. These are the ones that are maf'ul. So he helped him, or I helped him, I helped her, I read it, I helped them, I helped you, they helped me. All right, they helped us. So you can see that all the maf'ul pronouns are in the nasab category. And then jar, this is for all the possessor ones. All right, so those who possess something, the possessors are the jar pronouns. Okay, so let's begin with our rafa pronouns. When we speak about pronouns, we have to take care of a couple of things. First of all, we need to know their gender, of course. Okay, so we have masculine and feminine genders. Okay, and then we have to take care of whether it is the pronoun for third person, second person, or first person. By first person, I mean you. I'm sorry. By first person, I mean I or we. All right. By second person, I mean you. All right. And by third person, we mean he, she, it, and they. All right. This is what. The third person is he, she, it, they. Second person is you. All right. You all. So since in English we have just one word you, all right, and then we have to make it out through the context, whether it's singular or plural or musanna or double plural or whatever. So that's why it's just you. And in by first person we mean I and we. All right, now let's get on with our pronouns. So for he we have huwa. For both of them we have huma. For all of them we have hum. Okay, huwa, huma, hum. Hiya, hiya is she. Huma, once again both of them. Now both of them are same. All right, huma, huma. Huma for masculine, huma for feminine. We'll have to work it out through the context. All right, and then hunna is for all of them for feminine. All right, the translation is coming up. First, I just wanted to give you an overview. So huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna. Then for second person we have anta for singular masculine. For antuma, it's for this is both of you. Antuma is both of you. Antum, all of you. But this you is for masculine, of course. Okay, and then anti is for feminine wahid. Antuma, once again, same for masculine as well as feminine. So antuma is both of you. Antunna is all of you females. All right, and then we have ana is for I and nahnu is for we. All right, not us and not our. All right, because us and our is for nasab or jar types of pronouns, all right? And we is for the rafa pronouns, okay? So that's the reason I told you to make simple sentences. So we helped. So we is for file, therefore it's nahnu. And us and our is for, it is not for file. Okay. So huwa huma hum, hiya huma hunna, anta antuma antum, anti antuma antunna, ana nahnu. All right. Now let's see one more thing. Over here we see this noon with fatha and tashdid, and same's the case here. All right, so you can form such associations so that you can remember that which one is which one is which. So we have these noons here and we have these memes here. All right, hum and antum. All right, and for I, it's ana. All right, so it's I already in the form of hamza. All right, so see, these are tiny little associations that you can make and memorize these. And of course, for hua, we have the her sound in he as well. So her and he and hua. All right, so these kind of things. Okay, now third person he, she, it, they. All right, now we know that there is no separate word for it in Arabic, therefore huwa also means it, and hiya also means it. All right, and this is something that we are going to work out by checking out the context, of course, because for example, if it is going to, if there is a pronoun for kitab, all right, then of course it's going to be huwa. All right, so actually it's going to be he or who. It's going to be one of the nasab or jar pronouns. Okay, you won't exactly find huwa for kitab. Anyways, so huwa and then huma is for both of them masculines. Both of them, this is important, all right, because it is third person. Huma is for them, and of course both of them. And then hum, all of them. Now this all of them, all right, this may either be masculine or collective noun. So this would be, for example, if you're talking to mixed gathering, for example, or you're talking about a nation, of course, has masculine, has the feminines and masculines combined, of course. Then in that case, you're going to use whom because it's a collective noun, all right, and at the same time, it's only masculine as well. And then we have hiya, she or it, huma, both of them feminines, hunna, all of them feminines. So huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna. Next is the second person for you. Singular, you is for masculine, we have you, masculine is anta. Antuma, both of you, masculine. Antum, all of you, once again, either a collective noun or a masculine. All right, antum. And then next we have anti for feminine singular. All right, and then antuma, both of you, feminine, and antunna, all of you, feminine. All right, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna. So you'll have to practice these aloud a couple of times, and inshallah you'll be able to memorize them. And then lastly, we have first person for I and we. We have ana and nahnu. Ana is for I and nahnu is for we. Now this can be jama as well as musanna. All right, so it doesn't really matter. So ana, nahnu. All right, let's look at it again. And here we go. So we have huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, nahnu. All right. You'll have to practice this chart over and over again for a couple of times. All right, now a couple of pointers and then some examples. All right, so first of all, this is something that we studied earlier in this section, that all the pronouns are marfa. All right, so there are seven ways of making an ism marfa, and or rather we should say that there are seven situations in which an ism is considered to be marfa, and one of them is it being a pronoun. Okay, so all pronouns are marfa, and when we are using the rafa pronouns, we have to use the auxiliary verb, which are which include is, are, am, was. All right, so these are the helping verbs. Okay, you in English you can't just say he running. All right, you have to say he is running or he was running. All right, similarly you cannot just say I reading. All right, you have to say I am reading or I was reading or they were coming. All right, so you can't just say the main verb alone. And in Arabic we don't have this thing. Okay, so that's why when we are changing, when we are changing the medium, when we are translating, we have to um, we have to take this fact into account and we have to make the necessary changes. Okay, so always use an auxiliary verb after the rafa pronoun. Okay, so for example, now we are getting into the examples. Okay, the final uh, thing in this chapter. So huwa zaidun. Now we know what huwa means. Huwa means he. I cannot say in English he zaid, right? I'll have to add the helping verb, so he is zaid. Okay, next we have antum muslimun. Antum, all of you. Now, for our Urdu speakers, the ones who know a bit of Urdu, we uh, we know that tum is for you. Okay, so that's how you can memorize it with. So antum is you, and since it's tum sound at the end, of course, it means the uh, jama jama pronouns. All right, and if it were antunna, then it would have been the feminine pronoun. Okay, for jama. All right, so antum, all of you, men or collective noun, are Muslims, Muslimuna. All right, antum Muslimuna. Now, this Muslimuna, we already know this word. Why? Because we have done the Jama, Salim, and all these things. All right, so this una sound gives it away. All right, so if we take it out, it becomes Muslimun. That would be anta Muslimun. All right, of course, we have to use these pronouns and these words according to their number. Okay, you cannot say all of you are Muslim. Well, actually we do say it in English, but uh, talking if you since we are doing it in Arabic, of course. Okay, so we have to take this thing account. Now this Muslim, which I just said in English, all of you are Muslim. This Muslim is actually like a collective noun in English. Okay, so it is still uh, plural, okay, but of a different kind. All right, so that's why that's a distinction. Anyways, but in Arabic, these two have to be the same, of course. Okay, so antum and muslimuna, they should correspond with each other in terms of number, gender, and everything else. Okay, okay. Next example is ana muallimatun. Now we know this word ana. Ana is for I, and we also know muallimatun. This tun, ta marbuta at the end, shows that it's a feminine noun, and its masculine counterpart would be muallimun. All right, but since it's muallimatun, it's a feminine teacher. Okay, now I, feminine teacher, makes no sense in English, but in Arabic it means I am a teacher. It's a sentence. Okay, I am a teacher. Ana muallimatun. Next example, nahnu muslihuna. Now this nahnu, this means we. Muslihuna. Once again, this huna is the jama salim suffix of una. All right, rafa. So its actual word is muslihun. The actual root word for muslihuna is muslihun, and muslihun is someone who makes things right. So a reformer. Nahnu, we are muslihuna, reformers. We are reformers. Okay. And the last example, humul mufsiduna. Okay, let's spend last couple of minutes on it. Okay. Now we see humul mufsiduna. First thing, it's the same as hum, all right, and then we have al mufsiduna, all right. It is actually hum al mufsiduna. However, we know that we need to make the flow of language smooth, all right, and flawless without any obstacles. That's the reason we decided to silence this hamzatul wasl, and we connect this last letter of hum directly with lam tarif. This is something that we have already studied in the previous chapters. Okay, so that's the reason of humul mufsiduna. It is actually hum al mufsiduna, but for easy flow of language, we simply say humul mufsiduna. Okay. So this sukoon is replaced with pesh. All right. So humul mufsituna. Hum is all of them. Now this them is masculine as well as collective. All right. So this is something that we'll need to take care of through the context. Okay. Humul mufsituna. So all of them are trouble creators. Mufsiduna. Mufsiduna. Remove this una and it becomes mufsidun. All right. Once again, this is something that we have already done. Now, just notice how I translated this humul mufsiduna as the trouble creators. All right, the trouble creators. And here there is no al, therefore no the. All right, nahnu muslihuna humul mufsiduna. All right, so this was our last example. I hope that you understood it, and you'll need to practice this chart a couple of times. All right, and once you do that, inshallah, you'll get fluent, and inshallah, you will memorize it. So, in the next lesson, inshallah, we are going to cover the nasab jar kind of pronouns in Arabic, and I'll see you then. Okay, so barakallahu li wa lakum fil Quran al Hakim. Allah Hafiz.